Hi, buddy. Hello and welcome once again. Now, have you maybe realized that of late, people are really moving to the rural areas, right? Maybe not because they are retiring, but they have realized that there's some kind of market or there's some kind of space that they can do business, right? Especially maybe if you want to do farming, there's some kind of demand of produce that maybe people in urban areas might want from rural areas. So there's quite a lot that we can do from the rural areas and make money. And that is what has informed me, maybe to share with you the 15 or the 10 best business ideas that if you happen to move to the rural areas, you can always start and actually make money. So gone are the days when people just talked about rural areas as a place just to visit, stay for 3 days and come back. So I think with maybe devolution of various government services, especially in Kenya, we can always utilize this particular opportunity and maybe start some businesses. So, but before we start maybe looking at these business that you can do in rural areas, kindly consider the following things, or rather, the benefits of starting the business in a rural area. The first benefit, as I'd mentioned, is there's high, or rather, there's a rapid population growth, right? So, rural areas are growing rapidly, providing entrepreneurs with large customer base. People don't really nowadays move to town compared to maybe 10, 20 years ago, right? There's also growing market potential, right? So you'll always get some market when you invest in rural areas or in start a business. Of course, there's low cost of doing business in rural areas. You'll agree with me, because ideally, there, I mean, the taxes or rather the kanjos around town area, you can't really find them in rural areas. In fact, when you have your farm or when you have your home, you can't really. Someone cannot come and maybe start taxing you. That is your home. You can do your business inside your home, so you don't really need to be worried of these costs. And of course, improved infrastructure. I mean, nowadays we have accessible roads to our farms, to our homes. So, I mean, a lot have improved. We talked about rural electrification. Nowadays we have electricities in our rural areas. There's less competition because people are doing unique or are actually carrying out unique activities, right? So, I mean, there are a whole load of benefits that maybe we can gain from when you start doing business from home. So, if you want more information, kindly just check within the description so that you can learn more from our blog. And of course, to our first business that you can start in rural area is agrovet. Now, I've talked about farming, right? So you can set up some agrovet shops where people will buy this particular animal feed. They can purchase some kind of veterinary services, right, from you. They can also do some kind of, I mean, there are a lot of, and you can also maybe partner. Yeah, I like partnering with people. You can even partner with some veterinary officers so that be the focal point so that they can be purchasing these particular products from you, right? So, yes, that is the first business that you can start. The other one is the common one, that is transportation or border border. Now, you don't need to do this. I mean, I'm not saying that you go and start riding this border border. No, you can maybe create maybe some, or you can start some kind of transportation company where you can invest in 3 5 border borders, then you hire or you employ people to ride, yeah, to do the business on your behalf. The best important thing is that you can always do the insurance for the, you can have the insurance covers from for this particular border borders. You can also have some pickup, or rather some standby, I mean, matatus, right? You know, sometimes it becomes difficult for movements in rural areas. So if you have this kind of transportation, you can really uh, reap big, because people will be needing your services, right? So you can check on that. These are the other one is tents, chairs, and public address hire service. I mean, this one no one will doubt, because it's something that happens, right? And you really need to invest well in hiring of these particular equipments, because you realize that people want to, nowadays people, maybe for funerals, for churches, gatherings, weddings, rural areas, people don't have these equipment. So if you have them and you offer them at a lower cost, then you can always make money. And of course, you have motorcycle repairs. With the rise in border transportation, we really lack these particular repairs in our rural areas. So if you can set up a shop, for example, that maybe sell these particular spare parts, or you can hire someone who is well conversant with repairing of this motorcycle, right? So you can always make some income. So this is just some ideas, right? Also, we have construction hardwares, as I'd mentioned. Now that people are moving to the rural areas, we have people who want to start building their houses, right? So you can have some hardware, and this hardware you can also have some technical experts, so like people who can do some plumbing jobs, electric electrical installation in people's houses. So you can cut some network, right? Just not having a hardware is not enough. You can always create that particular network. And then salon kinyosis, I mean, this is also another good business that you can always start, right? And you can maybe spice it up. Let it not just look like the normal salons and kinyosis you normally find in our rural areas. You can make it different a bit. I normally say people maybe creating some music. You can have some nice screen. I mean, make it okay, attract people to your salon and kinyozi. And of course, we have information technology services. Of course, this one you won't get wrong. Nowadays, because people are within the rural areas, they need internet connection. You can configure for them their internet, right? You can set for them their Wi-Fi's and so on. Apart from that, you can also start, you can have the photocopiers, you can have some cyber. I mean, there are a lot of things. You can even repair for them their computers. You can even start training them, right? So there are a lot of information technology services that you can always start in rural areas. Ideally, we also have this other business known as culinary and cookware hire services. Now, we talk about culinary here. You should be maybe what you need to have is some kind of certificate from health providers, so that at least you are permitted to run this kind of business. Because when you handle food, I mean, it's just good that you be in good records with the health care providers. I don't know how you go about it, but there's that those certificates that will be required, which is very important, and it can limit you. Once you get that certificate, then you can purchase various cooking equipment. Then you can rent them. Yeah, we normally have don't know, they call it what wakata. Yeah, so you can also employ people to help you carry out these kind of services, right? So there's a whole lot of opportunities when you perform these culinary services. And of course, a poultry or farming business. Now, this one goes without saying. Personally, I've started my poultry farming, and I'll tell you, this is a business that maybe you won't get wrong, right? So, with a small area, right, within your farm. You can set up your poultry farming, and don't just have the kawaida poultry farming, the traditional one. Yeah, and make sure that you also improve the kind of things that you're giving your poultry, right? When it comes to medication, when it comes to having those cross breeding, not only the Kenyaji chicken, we have the broilers. I can give you lessons about this, but let's look at agribusiness in totality, right? Maybe you can even start some marketable agribusinesses, right? It depends with your area. I won't really tell you to start producing tomatoes, whereas maybe the climate is not favorable. And of course, the last one in our list is butchery business, right? People have cows, sheep, goats in our rural areas, but I believe there is no, rarely will you find a dedicated area where you'll get butcheries, right? Especially, I can tell you in my rural areas, people just individually slaughter their goats, right? But maybe when there's need, we maybe often encounter less butchery. When you want to purchase a meat for your maybe visitors or just for your consumption, you won't really get a butchery close by. That one will agree with me. So it's something that maybe you can factor in when you are looking for businesses that you need to start in our rural areas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying that these are only the best businesses that you can start. You can look around, do some due diligence within your rural area and see what kind of businesses that you can be able to do, right? And if you are here or you are watching this and you have already done some business in our rural areas, kindly share with us so that at least you encourage someone. Maybe I can also diversify these kind of income generating activities from poultry to starting another different business together. So should you find this particular information, ladies and gentlemen, if they're useful, right, kindly don't forget to share and subscribe. All right, thanks.